My name is Maya Thorne. On November 14th, the world became very small and very cold. I was 18 years old. That was the night my father told me I wasn't worth the trouble anymore. He didn't say it with a scream. He said it with a flat military precision that cut deeper than any insult. Behind him, my older sister Chloe was already claiming her prize. She wasn't mourning the loss of a sister. She was measuring my bedroom window for new curtains. To her, I wasn't a person. I was just an obstacle finally removed from her path to the golden child throne. I had $42 in my pocket and a car with a heater that blew nothing but ice. For 3 nights, I waited for the porch light to flicker, for a text, for a come home, let's talk. But the Thorne house remained a fortress of silence. I was erased before I even reached the end of the driveway. To understand the reply I eventually sent, you have to understand the man who broke me. My father, Arthur, was a United States Marine for 20 years. He didn't raise daughters. He commanded a unit. In our house, disagreeing was labeled as insubordination. A messy room was a breach of conduct. My mother was the invisible casualty of his war. She was loving, but her love was a quiet, terrified thing. She watched everything and said nothing. And then there was Chloe. Chloe was fluent in the language of yes, sir. She knew exactly how to weaponize her obedience. She was the perfect daughter who highlighted every one of my flaws just by standing next to me. I was an honor roll student. I worked 30 hours a week at a diner to save for college. But I was the one who asked, why? And in Arthur's house, that was a declaration of war. The night he found those pills, I realized the game was rigged. I looked at Chloe standing in the doorway. She didn't look shocked. She didn't look scared for me. She looked satisfied, like a strategist watching a long-planned ambush succeed. The first night, I parked at a 24-hour Walmart, thinking the lights would keep me safe. I didn't sleep. Every footstep on the pavement sounded like a threat. The second night, I moved to the back of the public library. It was quieter, but the cold was a physical weight pressing on my chest. I went down my contact list until there was no one left. My father had blocked me by sunrise. My mother wouldn't pick up. And Chloe, she just left me on read. Around 3 a.m. on the third night, a flashlight tapped against my window. I thought it was the end. It was a security guard named Bill. He didn't ask for my ID. He didn't tell me to move. He just handed me a cup of coffee and asked, "You okay, kiddo?" That man, a total stranger making $10 an hour, was the first person to check if I was alive in 48 hours. His kindness was the only thing that kept me from driving into a bridge abutment that night. For 12 years, I was a ghost. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, to put myself through school. I learned that family is a choice, not a bloodline. Sarah, my best friend, and her mother, Mrs. Reed, became my world. It was Mrs. Reed who sat in the front row at my law school graduation, screaming louder than any 10 parents combined. Arthur had frozen my grandmother's college fund, claiming I'd squander it on my habits. My first apartment was a room the size of a closet with a window that faced a brick wall. It wasn't a home, but it was a lock on a door. It was safety. There were nights I'd sit in the 24-hour laundromat, not because I had clothes to wash, but because it was warm. I'd watch families fold their laundry, laughing, and feel like a ghost watching a world I'd been locked out of. I remember the day I got my first A on a law school exam. I didn't have anyone to call, so I just sat in my car and cried. They were the first happy tears I'd shed in years. While I was donating plasma to buy textbooks, Chloe was thriving. She lived at home, rent-free, until she was 26. She told the aunts and uncles that I had chosen the streets. She painted me as a cautionary tale to keep the spotlight on her own manufactured perfection. But I held on to one thing. 2 weeks after I was kicked out, I had crawled to a post office and sent Arthur a 6-page letter. I poured my soul into it. I told him I loved him. I told him I'd take a drug test every day if that's what it took. It came back 4 days later, the seals still intact. Across the front, in that sharp, rigid military handwriting, were 3 words: return to sender. I kept it as a receipt for a debt that could never be paid. When the notification popped up, I didn't cry. I didn't even feel angry. I felt a cold, surgical clarity. He didn't want me. He wanted the successful attorney to be a trophy on his mantle. He wanted to tell his friends at the VFW that his discipline had made me the woman I am today. He wrote, "I always knew you'd make us proud, Maya. Your mother and I would love to have you for Sunday dinner. Let's put the past behind us." I didn't go to dinner. I sent a reply that stripped the paint off his walls. I attached 2 files. The first was a photo of the return to sender envelope from 2012. The second was a screenshot a former friend of Chloe's had sent me years ago. It was a text Chloe had sent to a group chat the night I was kicked out. Finally got the room to myself. Dropped the bag in her desk just before Dad did his sweep. Easiest win ever. LOL. My aunt told me later that after Arthur read that message, he sat in his truck for 2 hours. He didn't start the engine. He just sat there in the dark, sobbing. He finally realized he had spent 12 years protecting a sociopath, while the daughter who actually loved him was shivering. In a library parking lot. He kicked Chloe out the next day. He tried to call me 30 times. He sent flowers to my office. He even tried to transfer the frozen college fund with 12 years of interest. I sent the money back. People ask me if I'll ever forgive him, and my answer is always the same. I already did. I forgave him so I could stop carrying him. But forgiveness doesn't mean a seat at my table. I built my life on a foundation of people who chose me when it was hard, not when it was popular. My name is Maya Thorne. I'm 30 years old. And for the first time in my life, I'm the one writing the script. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. It helps us tell more stories of resilience. Let me know in the comments, would you have taken the money? Would you have gone to that dinner? Remember, you are always worth the trouble.